Daddy, can you teach me how to make 3D?
A couple weeks ago, I had posted an animation. I was doing some testing with Character Creator 5 in Blender. Kind of bouncing back and forth between the two, and then using the Rigify rig within Blender with the new CC5 setup to do some animation. So a couple people had asked for like a tutorial. I don't really have the time to do a full-on tutorial right this moment, but I will kind of break down quickly the tools that I use in the pipeline of how I get from point A to B with these animations. This is one that was called Choose Yourself. I just finished it up over the long weekend, and it's a remake of some renders I did like 3 years ago. I was just picking myself up with a claw machine, hence Choose Yourself, right? So I'll kind of break down the process of that. So the character that I created was done in CC5. So I really like CC5 because it starts off with base characters, and it has topology that's built for animation that you can use within iClone, or you can convert it to a Rigify rig within Blender, animate that. You can add mix-and-mode motions. You can do a lot of different things with it, so it kind of speeds up your workflow of things you can do. And then you can really make quick adjustments within the character. So you see over here, they have like all these different sliders you can use. So if I want to, I don't know, go to the nose and adjust the nose, I can make the nose bigger, smaller, change the width or whatever, the depth of the nose. And then what I'll also do, because I do my clothing in Marvelous Designer, I just go ahead and parent the shoes to the character, and then any accessories. So here I have glasses. Obviously I wear glasses, so I'll put those on as well. And that is what the base of the character looks like. So I have like the shoes are on there, it has the textures in the shoes, it has the glasses. I add a glass shader for the lenses, and then I have this node set up, and it's basically like a toon shader. So if you look really close, it has it looks like there's some halftones in there. So what I did was I have my color coming from my export Substance Painter as well as the normals, and I'll show you what that looks like in Substance Painter in a second. And then it has this halftone texture. So like if I make this bigger, you can see the dots get bigger, and then I can change some of these different parameters to kind of change the look of what I want it to look like. So I'm gonna hop over to Substance Painter so you can kind of see what it looks like in here. So this is the body. You're gonna see I have like all my different paint layers for the lips, for the beard, and then I have like a base layer. So the base layer has a stylized filter on it, which is giving me this like these paint strokes on the normals. And then I go over and kind of hand paint everything. So when you have this stylized filter with all of this hand painted stuff on top of it, and then in Blender you add in these halftones and this toon texture, the result comes out looking like this right here. So you can see there's like the light is playing in different ways with the textures. I have my halftone texture in there, I got my hand painted stuff going on. So it's just kind of like a cool look that I've kind of been playing with for the last couple years or so. Right, so for the animation, what I did is I just went through and I animated everything. But the first thing I did was I started off at 0, and then I had the animation start at 60 frames. So that's going to give me a little runway for the arms to come down within Marvelous Designer for the simulation before the animation starts. So you see I'm really just moving the hand, a little rocking back and forth, and then most of the animation is within the face. And then I export that animation as an Olympic, and I go into Marvelous Designer. So within Marvelous Designer, you see he's starting off in this A pose, and then I simulate that movement for the clothing within here. So the clothing's moving with the body. And then I export that out as an Olympic. So I just literally just select the clothing, export that out, and then back in Blender, when I bring that in, it matches up. Now the clothing is at 24 frames per second with no step interpolation, but the animation does have some step interpolation. So what I had to do was go into my modifier, and you have your mesh sequence cache, and then there's a little formula you can put in, and it's basically going to tell it to show every 2, 3, 4 frames, whatever you set it to. So the body, since I'm at 24 frames a second, I had the body moving at animated on 3s. I had the eyes like at 1. I had the claw moving like on 2s, and then the camera was like on 1. So I was kind of just playing with some different things, just experimenting, see what it would look like. And once that's in there, your animation is done. And then I just apply my textures that came from Marvelous Designer from the clothing onto there. Now I was getting some weird like movements with the clothing around the pant where the shorts met the sweatshirt, and since you don't see the shorts at all during the simulation, I didn't even bounce them out on here, so I just used just a sweatshirt to get a cleaner simulation. And then for the machine, I found this really cool rigged claw machine that was already on like Sketchfab or something like that. So there's like the claw root, the shaft that goes up and down, and the driver. So I animated all of that, and each one of these markers is kind of where it stops and moves into a different direction or goes down. And then I put a case around it. It's really just a cube. Took out one side right here. I put some glass in there instead of that. Added the same texture node that I have on the clothing and everything with those halftones, and made it bigger, so it kind of gives like a reflection into that. And then I had 2 camera angles. The first one was like a static just there, and then the second one zooms in and then zooms back out at the end. So when I start at 60 and end at 546, it will bounce back between those 2 cameras, and it'll be like a perfect loop. Added some music within Ableton Live, some sound design, and then that was pretty much it. And then it came out looking like this.